You must understand that natures do not exist independently of the things that possess those natures. There is no such thing as a human nature floating out there, something ethereal called human nature. So that if there were no humans, there would still be human nature. That's not how it works. You with me there? You understand that, right? If there are no humans, there are no human nature. If there are no dogs, there's no dog nature. No cats, no cat nature. So we know the divine nature exists because we know that these persons who are God exist, right? I'm trying not to make it technical. I'm trying not to make it confusing. I'm trying to keep it simple, right? There is no divine nature without the divine persons, or in the technical vocabulary, the hypostasis, right? Hypostasis, I guess that's plural, hypostases, right? However you want to pronounce it, that's the technical term. Or in Aramaic, QNOMA, right? QNOMA instantiations that are also parsopa, right? This is just common sense. No humans, no human nature. So then, human nature began with Adam, the male, because the first human created was the male. So, in that sense, every one of us shares in the nature of the male. Did you know that? Let me now give you an analogy. Let's go a little deep. See, I know full Vartan and lines then. By the way, I shared your link, guys, and I announced your discussion today. Go watch it. Now, let me explain. What's up? Yes, exactly. But apart from dogs, there's no dog nature. You have to have a dog to have a nature. Let me share something with you profound. Human nature began to exist when the first male was created. When the male was not created, there was no such thing as human nature. You know what that means, guys? If you believe what I just said, you know what that means? You know what that means? Let's go a little deep. Let's go a little deep. Yep. By the way, brother, we're still waiting for you to come and do a session on evolution. You said you're going to come in June, God willing. All right, let's go a little deep here. If human nature began to exist when the first male was created, because the male came before the female, that means every one of you share the nature of that male. Your nature is the nature of that male. That male's nature is now yours because it was passed on to you. Even Eve, her nature was the nature of the male. Her flesh was the flesh of the male. Her bone was the bone of the male. That's what Genesis says. The first human nature, right, that came into being was the result of the first male being created. Human nature began to exist when that male was created and began to exist. Yeah, we know. Anyone who says God created sin, get him out of here. And don't chime in the comment section. You with me there? Do you guys understand? The human nature that you share originates from the first male. When that first male existed, that's when human nature existed. That means at the end of the day, all of you are sharing in the human nature that originates from the male, just like the Son and the Spirit fully, eternally possess the divine nature that's from the Father. This is the monarchia. Okay, am I making sense or am I putting you guys to sleep? I got to make a playlist. I didn't know I had a playlist on Revelation. Let me explain what I mean. Right here. Let me show you from Scripture. Okay, 2. Now watch Scripture. All right. Now watch here from Scripture. I just said, okay, we got to get rid of it. Mods, are you doing your jobs, guys, or you're letting these guys to bark in my comment section like dogs? All right, watch here. Genesis 2, 4-7, 20, 24. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created, and the day that Yahweh God made earth and heaven. Now no shrub of the field was yet in the earth, and no plant of the field had yet grown, for Yahweh God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was no man to cultivate the ground. But a stream would rise from the earth and water the whole surface of the ground. Then Yahweh God formed man of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and so the man became a living being, literally living soul. So the first human is a male. Hence, human nature begins to exist. Every other human is human by virtue of the fact that they share in and possess the human nature of the first male. Silver, you got to come up and ask me the question here, not in the comment section. Here's the proof. Eve is human by nature because she derived that human nature from the male. Here it is. Genesis 2, 20, 24. And the man gave names to all the cattle and to the birds of the sky and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helper suitable for him. So Yahweh God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and he slept. Then he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh at that place. And Yahweh God fashioned the rib which he had taken from the man into a woman, from the womb of man, because she came from man, Isha from Ish. And he brought her to the man. Then the man said, this one finally is bone of my bones. There you go. Her bones are my bones. Her flesh is my flesh. Her human nature is my human nature, because human nature originates from me. It began with me, the first male. Flesh of my flesh. This one shall be called woman, because this one was taken out of man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. You understand how it works now? You got it now? There is no natures without the things that possess those natures existing. If there are no humans, there's no human nature. So then you ask your question, when did human nature begin? When the male was created. The human male is the start of human nature. That means, in one sense, in the temporal realm, he's the source of that human nature that you possess. Obviously, it comes from God. You get it now? There is no divine nature apart from the persons that possess that nature. Natures do not exist apart from the things that instantiate those natures. We got that clear now, right? I'm not trying to be philosophical. I'm trying to be biblical and just common sense from what Scripture teaches.